AITA for reporting my friend to his work and getting him fired because he refused to give my books back. I, 27F, recently had some friends over at my house for my birthday. I have a book collection with some signed books by relatively famous authors. They are not behind a locked shelf or anything, but they are in my room. After they left, I noticed that few of my books were gone, and someone mentioned that Jay, 28 meters, claimed I let him borrow the books. I called Jay and yelled at him about lying and stealing my books. He tried to explain that he was taking them to his work bookstore to get them officially appraised, and it was supposed to be a surprise gift. I chewed him off and asked him how that's considered a gift, and I wanted the books back. He refused. I told him I will be calling the cops his work if he doesn't, and he still refused to bring them back. I immediately called the cops to file a police report and waited until the morning to call his work. I gave them all the details, including the case number, and said I'll be coming with an officer to get my books back from Jay that day. His work cooperated with me and promptly fired Jay after I got my books back. Jay claims that I went too far over a few books and demands that I give him money until he finds another job. AITA? AITA for telling my sister why I'm acting cold during family dinner that was thrown in my honor after she made it about herself? I, 25F, am the middle child in our family of 3 siblings. Allison -28F, Jake 22M. Sadly, I am the stereotypical unseen middle child while Allison is the golden daughter. She literally cannot do anything wrong based on my parents' opinion. I opened up a new bakery in our town. My mom invites the whole family for dinner once in a while, and this time she said the dinner was in my honor to celebrate my new job. Which was sweet, and I was pleasantly surprised. Allison lives in a different city. When she came home for dinner, she was not alone. She had her girlfriend, Elizabeth 30F, with her. Now Allison is a playgirl who uses her law degree to get laid, even on my friends back in the day, but she never brought her girlfriends home. She did this time, and everyone's attention was on her. Through the whole dinner, there was only one mention of my bakery. Ironically, it was from Elizabeth. The rest was spent on getting to know Elizabeth and her job, interests, how she met Allison, etc. It also didn't help that she was a psychiatrist and everyone had questions. I was beyond pissed. She could have brought her home any other time but chose this one time that our parents decided to acknowledge me, so I was cold throughout the dinner. Not that anyone really cared. At the end of the night, Allison asked me why I was sulking. I told her the truth, and I said she managed to make this above herself as well, that she couldn't live if the spotlight wasn't on her. She told me I should be happy for her because she's fallen in love and is extremely happy with her girlfriend and wanted her to be a part of this celebration. She knew exactly what bringing a girlfriend would do to the dinner. So I told her she could have done it literally any other night. Right now, we're still pretty distant. AITA here? Am I overreacting? AITA for not putting my shirt back on? I, 19F, have been going to the gym near consistently since February this year. I've lost 18 pounds so far, and while I still have 93 pounds before I reach my goal, I've already gained so much strength and confidence in my body. I'm 5 feet 7 inches and 255 pounds. I know I'm big, but I don't think it should really affect how I dress. I get sweaty at the gym, and the one thing worse than a sweaty bra is a shirt that sticks to you because of sweat. My gym also doesn't have air conditioning on a low enough temperature for me to avoid getting like this. For reference, my gym doesn't have a dress code. As a result, for most of my workouts, I've opted to just go in my bra and leggings or shorts. Today was chest and back, and I chose to wear my bra and shorts combo. No cleavage is showing. No underwear is peeking out above the shorts. It's what a lot of the other girls have seen at the gym wear. I'm going through my workout, and by the time I get to bench press, I notice some people in the corner giving me the side eye. I try to ignore them and turn up my music, but I can still see them just staring at me unhappily. I finish a set when one of the girls in the group approach me and asks me to put on a shirt. She states that it's unsanitary. I say that I wiped down all the equipment before and after use. She says it doesn't matter and that I needed to be more polite to other gym members. At this point, I already knew she was most likely talking about not wanting to see my rolls. I get it, no one wants to see the fat person jiggle. I sit U-pan, tell her that I'm wearing almost the exact same thing as her friend in the corner. Her friend was also in a bra and shorts, and to tell me why she actually wanted me to put on shirt. She got frustrated and said, "Forget it," before storming off. I got back to my workout and just finished it. I'm typing this in my car as I wonder if I could have handled it better or just complied and put my shirt in. I'll be honest, I have scars from picking at my skin, stretch marks, and a very jiggly body. I know my body isn't the most flattering, but I don't believe it gives you the right to demand a person to cover up. AITA? ETA. Thank you for all the kind comments. I wish I could personally thank everyone, but I can't do that in a reasonable amount of time. This is almost exactly what I was wearing. Take a peek at those biceps. I've been through a lot of negativity regarding my weight and body growing up, as I've always been the fat kid. I'm just glad I took the chance to better my mental and physical health. ETA 2. Some people pointed out that I never specified it was a sports bra and not a regular bra. 'Twas a sports bra. AITA for telling my sister it's her own fault she's alienated from the family? I am one of 3 siblings, 29F, 27F, me, and 22M. This all started about 5 years ago, when my older sister came to me and told me she was looking into our genealogy and wanted me to do one of those novelty genetics tests. I wasn't enthusiastic about it, but she was weirdly insistent, so I gave her the samples she asked for and moved on, not really giving it much more thought. At no point did I have a digital login for any results. I also never thought to mention this to my parents. A few months after this, sister moved 6 hours away for another job and was non-communicative. She would call dad every once in a while, but brotherand I found that if we didn't call, text her first, we wouldn't hear from her, and she basically cut mom off outright. When questioned about this, she would refuse to acknowledge that's what she was doing. Ultimately, we all just accepted it. Mom was totally baffled and broken-hearted, and the rest ofus naturally became less close with sister as a result. Even she and dad only talk a few times a year now, and none of us have seen her in person in 5 years. Earlier this year, brother did 23andMe and got weird results that led to hard conversations. Mom and dad came clean that the 3 of us were donor-conceived, a choice they made because dad is infertile. They apologized for not telling us earlier, but dad felt strongly about not telling us because he never wanted us to think of him as any less our dad. Dad called sister and told her this too after we talked, and she basically had a breakdown on the phone. It turns out that she knew dad wasn't her bio father, and firmly believed for 5 years that mom had cheated on dad and had been nursing intense resentments as a result. Apparently she did a genetics test 5 years ago and was puzzled that the ancestry info didn't match with what we knew about dad's family. That's when she came to me to get a sample. She sent it to Alab with hers, and they confirmed the results. We were genetic half-siblings, with the same mother and different fathers. She drew her own conclusions from there, that dad was my bio father and others, and that mom had had an affair, and uprooted her life to get a fresh start. She's now furious about the situation and feels like she's been robbed of the last 5 years. When we last talked, I was maybe less sympathetic than it should have been and told her cutting us off with no explanation was an insane move, and if she'd told us even a fraction of what was going on, it could have been cleared up years ago. He acknowledged mom and dad messed up here by not being truthful about our genetic identities, which I'm also struggling with my own feelings on. But in the end, it was her decision to do this dramatic move and slow fade with zero explanation. I also expressed how hurt brother and I had been to be left out of her life, and that it wasn't fair to punish us for what she thought had happened. AITA? AITA for accepting the suggestion and not coming back, ruined a family dinner? I'm known in the family to be a control freak about preparing food. In fact, in my family, there are 2 dinners in the year that all members come, in all 30 people, and before I took over, all dinners were extremely late. There was always some problem with seasoning or poor preparation. I'm organized, and for every meal, I have a spreadsheet with everything I need to make a huge-scale dinner. At first, they didn't respect it, but after seeing that my method was useful, everyone joined in and allowed me to be the head of the organization. Since then, dinners are ready on time. Everyone praises and repeats the dish, not very common. It's 1 to 2 days for preparing meals. I don't ask them to help me, because I know I'm serious with organization, but if the person wants to, I ask them to respect the process. Another fact, my mother was a cook for 1 year, and my sil is studying gastronomy. The situation. Sunday was the half-yearly dinner and I was the head as usual. Would help me, my sil, mother, aunt, and uncle. This would be SIL's first family dinner and she offered to help. During the preparation, my mother started to do several things wrong, and every time I said something, she said something like, "Stay calm, a wrong thing will not lead to anything." The problem is that she did so much wrong, skipping so many necessary steps in the food that most things I had to redo or give a second look. She continued to help even though I said it wasn't necessary. I broke down when I just commented something about steps with my sil and she corrected me. I was going to comment, but my mother said, "I think you better cool off in the pool and let those with experience sort it out." I accepted, grabbed a glass of wine, the spreadsheet with me, and spent the whole day in the pool, ignoring when asked to come back. So, dinner was late, poorly seasoned, undercooked, and no one had a second dish. My mother later said that I ruined dinner and humiliated our family in front of relatives in revenge. I shouldn't take that serious, because it was a silly family joke. By the way, I love making these dinners, and yes, my mother's silly behavior is common. AITA? Someone asked for examples of what she did wrong. She put too much salt on one of the meats and it was inedible. There had to be 10 of something fourth food and she cut it in half because it was too much. It wasn't. She started to make rice very early, and we use the pan first for other food and rice is last because it is the biggest and heaviest pan. My spreadsheet basically has the amounts and how long each cooking ingredient goes. I point out when they get the quantities wrong, too much or too little, or when they start making food that is for a long time before or after. AITA for kicking my sober bill out of my barbecue. I, 31 meters, and my wife Gal, 30F, recently bought our first house and yesterday we hosted our first big BBQ with both sides of the family and friends. Gal's brother Jim, 26 meters, has been sober for 5 months, alcohol and Xanax mostly. I don't like Jim. Besides that, he's generally an annoying person, has struggled with his drinking and pills for many years and did all kinds of up hit to everyone around him. Lots of theft and trespassing to keep it brief. He's sober now, lives with his, Gal's, mom, and I guess he is getting his life together, though he still isn't working or dealing with his court stuff, so IDK what exactly that entails. He's become absolutely insufferable in his sobriety. Everything is about Jesus or sobriety, which I could make peace with, but he also has made it a habit of trying to save everyone around him from the dangers of alcohol. Every visit turns into a sermon or him walking around asking personal questions about people's drinking habits, insisting they need to reconsider their relationship with alcohol. I specifically told Gal that if Jim was invited to this barbecue that she was going to call Jim and tell him that we wanted none of his preaching there. She got on the phone with him, but she was beating around the bush, so I asked her to put it on speaker and told him, Jim, you are invited, but you will not talk about sobriety unprompted to any guests. You're not a doctor or a counselor or nothing, so just don't. I don't want to hear a word. Both Gal and Jim said they understood. Well, the barbecue starts. Everyone's having a good time and my uncle shows up. I offer him a beer and he says something like, after this week, I'ma need something stronger, boy. Where's the brown stuff? On ucking cue, Jim says something like, I don't know. Kind of concerning that that's how you choose it to deal with a bad week, no? I straight up say, hey Jim, how about you grab your stuff and get out of here? He says, oh come on. I didn't mean it like that. I say, Jim, I'm not asking you twice. Get the hell out of here. I've known this man my whole life and you just called him a drunk in front of my family, so you can leave. He tried to defend himself and I just say, I asked for not a word, Jim. Everyone days I am the awe for not even giving a chance or letting him apologize, but I think I was clear enough. So AITA? And #X200B. Edit. Later on when Sills and Gal kept going back to the point. Jim did not call your uncle a drunk, and I kept saying, he sure did. If he's saying my uncle deals with his issues with booze, then you're calling him a drunk. They say I'm putting words in his mouth and that's not fair. I said he's the one calling out people for problem drinking. What's he think people are going to think he's calling them?